Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. Well, welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, and I love the opportunity to share interesting people doing interesting things. And today we're going to do that all day long and talk about mental health, maybe some little change in your life, entrepreneur versus employee, toxic workplaces, non-toxic workplaces, making change, and all of those things. And I want to welcome to the room and become a pirate. She's a pirate now. Laura, how are you? Crazy?
Garr, bollocks.
Arr. Thank you for being here, Laura.
Thank you so much for having me, Russ. And hello, everyone. So, hey, y'all, yarg. So I will do the combination of Texas and pirate as best I can.
Well, I spent my fair amount of time in Texas, and it was I really enjoy Texas. And my sister's still in Texas, and my son is in Texas, and so I get back there.
That's right. Come back. It's calling your name. Come back to us.
Yeah.
What part of Texas?
We were talking before the show, and we were talking about some of the part of your journey. And so, you're going through some changes in evolution. And why don't you talk a little bit about that and what's prompted that change in your life?
Sure. So it's kind of funny telling this story because I've been in mental health for the past 7 years, and just truth be told, I've been trying to get out of it. And it's not that I don't love my clients and love helping people. I just found myself really kind of going against the grain. Because counseling is very focused on building the relationship, kind of processing where someone is at in their life. And that's wonderful. But it was very hard for me, who's a very goal-driven, forward-focused, solution-oriented kind of person, because I was sitting here going, okay, it's like we've kind of rehashed this, like, come on, let's get out of the hole. Like, let's, I don't want to be in here having, Cheetos and Netflix. Like, I'm just like, the hole's not fun. There's life outside of the hole. And for a lot of clients, they just were not in that mindset. So it was very taxing for me to keep going back into that and try to put that aside. I know you meet the client where they're at, which I would do that, but I was just inside, I was just like, no, like there's so much more. And so now I've actually walked away from being an employee to actually being an entrepreneur. So I kind of was frustrated with the way everything was going and said, hey, I'm going to create my own niche. And so now I'm moving toward more purpose-driven coaching, organizational change, and things like that. So really professional experiences were not so great. So it's like, let's fix that. And then some tough life experiences has brought me to the journey I am at today.
It's interesting because I know, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that hold on to the place that they are right now. And it seems like they're really challenged by the change, by moving away from something that they're comfortable with, even though it's either toxic or it's depressing, or it's not really full, what I would consider a full life. Right. And what do you think, what's the core of that? And why are people so hesitant to evolve and change and move away from their current situation?
Sure, that's an excellent
holding on to?
Absolutely. Sorry for jumping in. I was just so excited. I was like, yes, I love this question. It's really, I'm glad that you brought it up because it's really, really difficult to explain to people who are not experiencing it. I see this a lot with domestic violence and abuse and trauma. There's very, very overt negative reasons for somebody's in an environment. They're being physically abused, sexually abused, emotionally abused, spiritually abused, financially abused, any type of abuse. And the outsider may say, oh, we'll just pick up and leave, just walk away. And it's not that simple. And I think that translates to a lot of mental health difficulties in toxic environments. There is a fear that is there of, even though it's not good, I'm kind of comfortable, and because I know this is familiar to me. I'm used to this pain, or I'm used to this person being here and providing for me. What do I do if I step out on my own? I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. Like it's kind of like you lose. I'm a victim of domestic violence myself. That's why I speak from that. Is it's just kind
Hmm.
of like, where do I go? What do I do? I don't even know my own identity. So the thought of even setting foot outside of this relationship is just not even realistic. That would be a fantasy, because like I don't even know what my favorite color is. I don't know how to pay bills. I don't know how to take care of myself. And I think the same thing happens for those in depression and anxiety. They've been in this place for so long that it becomes the abnormal becomes normal for them. So when they're trying to return back to the normal, it's like looking at change and going, well, I don't want to go to the abnormal. That's uncomfortable. So it kind of goes with us thinking of like, I don't want to do something weird and different. Like, why? I know this. I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Um, it's just really hard to have that mindset when you've been so bogged down. You just don't have that same rational thought because you're in your pain.
It's interesting too, because depression is one of those things that is either, um, you really are in a place where you can't process information like you need to in order to move away from it. So it's always good
Mhm.
to have some help. And, this month is, and I've talked about this in the past, is, you know, September is Suicide Awareness Month. And,
Yes.
if you're, if you're depressed, there's help. There's things that you can do, and there's places you can go, and there's changes you can make in your life. And I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that there is help, there is change, and you have an opportunity. Even though it seems like it's impossible, it is possible.
Yes.
And you look around, and there's examples of it all over. And I just want to make sure, if you're in a place that you're not feeling 100% confident that you can do something else, you know, phone a friend, get some help, look for a solution. So I just want to mention
Absolutely.
that because it's so important, and people need to hear it over and over again before they
Absolutely.
before they make a change. I want to shift gears a little bit though, and rather than just changing careers, you decided to become an entrepreneur, and that's even a more massive change in
Yes.
environment and attitude. And it's like, okay, exciting. I get to plan my own day. I get to do all this stuff, and it's like, oh, now what do I do next? So walk us through some of those emotional attachments and changes that you've had to go through.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of a roller coaster of emotions. It's like excitement, like to like, oh my God, to like freak out, to like, yay, jazz hands, so it's interesting experience. But what led to that is kind of referencing back, I had been in mental health for 7 years, and I just never really felt like that was a good fit for me. I kind
Mm,
of bounced around a lot. I could handle it for about a year and a half, and then I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. And then so I would take a break and I would try to get out of it, and it just never really fit. And so I said, something has to change. And there was actually a 7-month period of my life where I had some physical health difficulties, some mental health difficulties, spiritual health, and I almost lost my life to it. So it really helped me to reflect on my life and what was important. And it was going, Laura, you're not finding your place where you're at. You need to create your own. And part of those difficulties came from a very toxic work environment that I came out of. I had experienced that at almost every single job that I had been at. Sadly, in the mental health field, it can be very toxic in the workplace because you're dealing with individuals who usually come from a mental health background. So sometimes they haven't processed all their traumas. So sometimes they're bringing that into the workspace. And being in that for so many years, and then when it manifested the way it did with me, and I literally almost lost it because of it, then I said, okay, it's time. I'm going to start over. I'm going to do things my own way, and I'm going to change that. So that leads to my passion of wanting to help people be purposeful in what they're doing and make meaning and change things at the micro level, the individual, so I can change at the macro level. I'm also very passionate about organizational change, going into
Mm.
companies and saying, hey, do you have a healthy workspace? Are you communicating with your employees? Do you have an open door policy versus a closed door? You're wondering why your employee turnover rate's so high. Let's look at what's going on in the ivory tower, at the C-suite executive level. You're wondering why you're hemorrhaging money. Just coming in and helping people to rethink what's going on, because I see too many people affected by mental health. And with the suicide component, we have lost beautiful souls because of toxic
Mhm.
workplaces and home spaces that are toxic. So it's my goal to change that so we can save more lives and make a positive impact.
I call it the analogy of being inside the pickle jar. A lot of times people are so close, especially in organizations that are just they're running on automation, they're running, day to day, and you show up to do your work, and just you don't think about everybody in the environment. You don't think about
Mm-mm.
what is good or bad, and it's unfortunate. However, you have an opportunity to make some changes in there and some small adjustments that can make the environment so much more healthy, uh,
Yeah.
productive, you know, and welcoming. And I think that
Yes.
it's a really it's a time that is needed. And thank you for doing that work, and thank you for thinking about it from that perspective. Coaching isn't easy, and there's a lot of people that are um, willing to help. And when you come from a mental health background, it kind of adds that next dimension to it as well.
Yeah, definitely. Just to speak to that is that what I'm finding with clients and organizations is a lot of times people don't recognize that mental health is what's keeping them back, kind of what you're speaking about. And people don't recognize that it's mental health that's causing difficulties in the workplace where people are not seeing the whole picture. They're so focused in their work, or they take on workaholic tendencies because they're distracting themselves from anxiety or depression or whatever that may be, or a past trauma with a certain group of people. So they're acting that out, they're projecting that, and they don't realize it. And then also just within the person, I mean, we have goals that we want to achieve, but a lot of times there's something that's going on in our mindset that's keeping us back. So it helps to have that background to, not get back in the hole, but just sit there and go, okay, let's take a look at this pothole. Let's kind of patch it over, and then we can jump back to moving you forward.
Yeah. I really thrive, and I resonate when you say you wanted to do progress, you wanted to do next step. And like there's been instances in my life where people wanted to stay and I had to leave because I wasn't willing to stay where they were. And
That's what happened to
it's
me.
yeah, it's and people don't think about that. They don't really think and understand that I'm in a place that's, and I know people that are in, toxic work environments right now, and you think,
Mm,
can't you see that? And they're comfortable in their perceived security. And if
mm.
we all knew how insecure all our job environments and employment was, you wouldn't hesitate to jump out and try something new and go explore new opportunities. So I want to go back to what prompted you to get into the mental health field in the first place?
Sure. So funny story on that one. So originally I kind of took a journey just to find myself as a counselor. I originally started out when I said, I don't even want to go to college. I don't need to do that. So I kind of tease people. I always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I've owned 3 companies. My first one when I was 5. I had a co-owner. I had a friendship bracelet business, and my second one was a sidewalk toy business where I took free donations door to door and turned around, sold them. So my margins were 100%. And then now I have my company now. So I've always wanted to do things my way. So I really struggled with the thought of, well, what am I going to go to school for? 'Cause I'm just going to make my own way. So I
Yeah.
started out as a fashion design major. I can't sew. So if you can't sew,
That's a challenge. I
I was
can't
like, that one's
sew.
not going to work. So then I went to, I wanted to be a plastic surgeon, not for cosmetic, for people who had burns or disfigurement. Operation Smile was something I really wanted to do. So helping children in third world countries who have cleft palate, the cleft
Oh,
lip, things like that. I was not blessed with the ability to do math very well. So that one got scrapped as well. So just moving down the list. And then I recognized I really love psychology.
mm.
I love what makes people tick. I love wanting to know why people do what they do. People just fascinate me. And
Kind
I
of
kind
like
of got in.
Irish broadcast.
You're right. Interesting people do interesting things. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm very interested in that. I even went extreme. I got into serial killers for a little while. 'Cause I was like, well, how do you go so far from here to over here? Like, what the heck happened? Like, and how can I stop that? And so I really started getting in psychology, and I got a degree in that. But to be a psychologist, you have to have a PhD. My family was not so
Mm.
supportive of that, just because I was looking to get married and, start a family and all that kind of stuff. And so it just was not the right time. And so I thought, oh, I can do counseling. I can get a master's, get in the field. And it's very different. So just anybody who's wondering, mental health counseling and psychology are very, very different, unless you do counseling psychology. But so that's how I ended up there. So I don't want to say it's an accident because I don't believe in accidents, but it was a kind of
Well, it's
going
a journey.
all around, yeah, to get
It's a
there.
journey. And it's interesting because you know, a lot of people are you have to have enough experience in something to understand whether you like it or not.
Yes, so
7
true.
years is a good period. It's a it's you gave it your all and now you're coming back to something else. It's like this
Permission,
does
yes.
not fit. This does not fit. I'm gonna go do something else now. And that's
Yes,
I think that's I think that's I think the world would be a more healthy place if we all evaluated that and maybe considered new jobs because there's this individual, this idea that, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to stay there and I'm going to retire and it's going to be all
mhm,
good. It's just, we're living in a completely different culture now and a different environment and where people can go out and learn things so quickly.
yeah,
Information is so available. And there's this idea of that the experience and the journey is more important than the destination. I'll be happy
yes,
when this takes place. I'll be happy if I get here. And it's like, just be happy right now. Just
right?
enjoy the journey, enjoy what you're doing right now. And I think that's a much healthier, from a mental
Yes.
health perspective, that's a much healthier perspective on life in general. And you want to talk about that? And because I know it's a scary place being an entrepreneur and starting a business. I've been doing it for years, and not every day is rainbows and unicorns. It's like
No, I
you have to
imagine
go
it's
through
probably not.
some challenges. So talk about that journey for yourself a little
Sure.
more.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about that. And I love that you bring up that mentality. I agree 100%, not just as a human, and so not just Nut House approved, but also, mental health approved, is that it is so important to enjoy the journey and each component of the journey, because what we're doing right now impacts our life in the future. So if
Mhm.
we are wasting our time, sitting here thinking so much about the future, well, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, gotta do this, or missing those moments, we can't get those moments back. To me, time is the most valuable asset that we have, and it's really a privilege because we only have so much, and it's up to us how we spend it. We can
Yeah.
spend it being miserable and worrying or focusing too much on something that hasn't even happened or may not happen, or we can be mindful and stay in the moment and be happy with each and grateful for each moment that we have and make the most of it. So that way, when we can look back at our life, we don't have those moments of, oh my gosh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Because working with end of life patients, that's something that they go through. They reflect on their life and say, did I do everything I wanted to do? Did I accomplish this? Or there's a lot of regret. And I don't want to be in that place. I want to look back and say, heck yeah, I had an awesome life. And, I'm ready to go on to the next one.
Yeah.
But talking about the plight of the entrepreneur is what I've learned to call it as I've talked to my fellow entrepreneurial tribe. Is it's funny because it seems like you've never really fit in and you've always had to venture out, and then it sounds so glamorous until when you actually do it, it's kind of overwhelming and scary. It's exciting, like you talk about, because it's like, yes, I'm doing my own thing, I'm my own boss, and then it's like, well, there's nobody to tell me what to do. So am I doing it right? What do I do now? And it's like you're overwhelmed with so many decisions because you have to make all the decisions. So I kind of go back to, it feels like almost when I was getting married and I hated all this, even the little finite details I had to make decisions on. I was just like, my God, like I don't even care. Like just
Decision
do this.
fatigue.
Yes, very
Yeah.
much. And I'm trying to be as excited as possible, and I'm trying to talk to my family about it, but they've never done the entrepreneurial route. So
Yeah.
they're not able to support me in that realm. And so I'm just like, I don't know, is this normal? Am I on the right track? Am I crazy? Am I
Some days it's a very lonely place. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, and that's why I think LinkedIn is so important, because it's business-minded individuals that are all working together. And if you can find a group of individuals, build your tribe and, your
Yes.
community, whatever it happens to be. And I just want to, speaking of which, I want to give a shout out to some of the individuals that are in the room today because it's important. Angie, good morning, everyone. She's an awesome individual that is so supportive. And Elaine, how are you, Elaine? Stella is here. Good morning. Gabriel's in the house. Hello, Russ Johns.
Oh, how funny. I just got a message from him. Hey.
Good morning, fellow pirates. I agree. Stella says, I agree. I'm sure we were talking about something, so I'm a little behind in the comments.
Well, thank you. You're agreeing
so much. And Gabriel says, looking forward to the LinkedIn local pop-up with both Russ Johns and Kenyatta Turner, and Art Jones is going to be there. That's an event, Laura, that is on the 17th. We're going to have that at 3 p.m. Arizona time to 4 p.m. We're going to be talking about, because we have a pandemic going on. I'm not sure if you read it in the news or anything, but there's a pandemic. And so we can't meet always in person. So LinkedIn Local Phoenix, Kenyatta was managing that with for the Phoenix area. And so what we want to do is create a little pop-up, and just say hi to people that we've met, we've connected with. And so you're welcome to join us. And
I love that.
Everybody join in the LinkedIn local pop-up. The event is in LinkedIn. It's an Eventbrite. It's it'll be a Zoom meeting, so it's very familiar with everybody. And then Kenyatta, me too. Ooh, me too. Good morning, pirate broadcast friends. Thank you so much, Kenyatta. Good morning, fellow pirates and everyone new to the broadcast. Yes, thank you so much for joining us, because Kenyatta's here. Elaine, and this is how it rolls. Sherry Lawley, who's always been a supporter for the pirates, and also Gabriel does a show in the evening, and so we go back and forth. It's a regular community. It's very supportive. Yay. I just sent you a message, Laura. I would love to have you as have a conversation with you. So, and Stella, hey.
Hello, the shout outs. Hey to everybody.
Yeah.
I love the community. It's so awesome.
And Stella says, good morning back. And then Kenyatta, hello. Wonderful. So you can see how this rolls, Laura. You're not alone. These are people that are out doing their own thing. They're building their own empire. And Elaine says, Kenyatta, hey. Kathy Spooner's in the room. Good morning. you're a pirate now, so you can actually reach
I
out.
know. I have a whole crew to like chat with now. Like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Kathy Sooner, you sound like you've been inside my head. So
Uh-oh.
see that?
Maybe we have. I don't know. I'll never tell.
Yeah. LinkedIn local pop-up. Woot woot. 9/17 at 3 p.m. So hang out the URL. Come hang
Yes.
out with us. I agree. Enjoy the present time. And then Kenyatta and
Yes.
Gabriel. Appreciate those beautiful fragrant roses. Thank you so much. This is a new journey for you, and I want to make sure that people appreciate the fact that you've taken this. This is a huge step, and congratulations. I wish I had a confetti or some
I know.
sound effects. It's like I need that. I need that. I need to get the sound effects down. So, how do people get a hold of you now? What's the best way for people to reach out to you? And well, first you need to join the pirate community and subscribe to the YouTube channel,
Yes,
the
definitely.
podcast, and go to russjohns.com and get notified for updates. So
Definitely doing that. Yes, seeing all these fabulous pirates and all the love. I'm just like, I was feeling a little bit jelly. I was like, I totally have to be part of that.
yeah,
But
you are part of it.
I
So
know. It's been accepted, and I love that. I
and it
love the
hasn't even
community.
been painful. It's just like super simple.
I know. It was thank you for just accepting me. I didn't have to go through like a rites for you didn't make me like walk the plank or
No,
to do anything crazy. It was just like, yeah,
no,
like come on over. I love
yeah,
that. Except for the nut house for who the nut house is, and that's totally
yeah.
appreciated.
We need a little more nut house in the pirate.
You do.
Yeah,
Grog and nut house. What's better than that?
I know. So now, how do you appreciate people reaching out and connecting with you?
Sure. So that's a fun thing too. So you caught me right at the right time. So I just created several avenues where people can do that. So definitely on LinkedIn. That's kind of my main platform right now as I'm building.
Yeah.
So it's my URL is of Laura and it's dash nut and it's slash. I think believe it's backslash and it's F2 because I actually do have a podcast coming out eventually and it's called Face Squared. So that's the reason for
Woo-hoo.
the F2. Yeah, the woo woo. I need the good
Yeah,
answer. So that's coming out as well. Yeah. Boom.
I'll work on that, Laura. Yeah,
That's right. When it happens, like Russ, let me know when you have the confetti gun. Then we'll make the official like PSA.
yeah.
But that's coming out. So definitely check me out there. And I'm always changing my profile to crazy things. So that'll keep you entertained right there. I also have a website that's coming up, and that's www.lauranutt.com. So just my name. So right there up top.
Yeah.
And also, I have a Gmail account where you can reach out to me, and that's based off my business name, which is Liberating the Lioness, and that is lioness-liberator@gmail.com. So I have several different avenues where you can get in touch with the Nut House, and we can help excavate the awesomeness within you.
Excellent. And all of those links, everyone, will be in the post at russjohns.com/pirate broadcast this afternoon. So we take all this information, boil it down to a podcast, a broadcast, a transcription, and a blog post, so you have access to all that information. So if you missed the live, you can always go back and watch the replay. And if you can't watch the replay, you can listen to the podcast. And if you can't listen to the podcast, you can read the transcription and gain all this information and wonderful knowledge. So
you will get it in some form or fashion. So there's no FOMO involved. Don't
you just have
worry.
to remove the friction and allow people to have what they need. Right.
That's right. No FOMO here. This is
No
just
FOMO.
all pirate fabulousness. Like no FOMO.
Yes. Well, I really truly appreciate you being here. I know it's a challenging journey. So always reach out if you have questions. If you're just saying, "Hey, I need to vent to someone," or I need to bounce some ideas off someone. We're here for you. So
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that that's the biggest key right there is like you said before, finding your tribe and finding people who understand you. And I finally found that because when I listen to people, it's like I finally don't seem like the crazy one in the room, because I couldn't
yeah,
keep that job for 30 years and retire and do all that stuff. And other people are like,
yeah,
yeah, I had that same thing. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like people
yeah,
understand. I'm not the only one. That it's so liberating having that. So thank you for extending that. That's
yeah,
so it's empowering. It's very empowering to hear that, to know there's other people who've gone through it and they're willing to help you through the journey because we need each other, right? I mean, we need each other to build up, hold each other accountable, and to celebrate the wins and to be with us when we're in the trenches. So thank you so much.
yeah. And so if, like I said before, we are holding this LinkedIn local pop-up. I've been an avid supporter of LinkedIn for years. I've been on the platform since 2005. I've been doing this live for almost a year. It will be a
Nice.
year on the 17th, so it's almost a dual anniversary
How
thing.
fun. That's the
And
Nuts origin day too. So see, it's your anniversary and that's so the pop-up day is actually the Nut origin day. So
yeah,
very important
exactly.
day.
It's a very important day, and it's a time and a place for conversation to evolve, and people to feel welcome and understand that there's more to life than thinking about the future. You can think about the now and understand that there's people out there that appreciate what you're doing. There's people out there that appreciate where you're headed, and if we can all work together on that, it's so much better than not getting along because it's
Yeah,
like
there's enough of
it's a
that.
simple equation. And as always, thank you, Laura. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you
Thank
sharing your
you.
story. And as always, as we wrap it up, kindness is cool and smiles are free. And you enjoy your day. Thank you, Laura. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate